We're in Psalm 14 today. The fool says in his heart, "There is no God." They are corrupt, they do abominable deeds. There is none who does good. The Lord looks down from heaven on the children of man to see if there are any who understand, who seek after God. They have all turned aside. Together they have become corrupt. There is none who does good, not even one. Have they no knowledge, all the evildoers who eat up my people as they eat bread and do not call upon the Lord? There they are in great terror, for God is with the generation of the righteous. You would shame the plans of the poor, but the Lord is his refuge. Oh, that salvation for Israel would come out of Zion when the Lord restores the fortunes of his people. Let Jacob rejoice, let Israel be glad. The psalm is, it's like an extended meditation on the folly of the wicked. Here you have the fool in all his splendor. And there's definitely a tendency within me to take Psalm 14 and immediately well-known figures come to mind, people who I should earnestly pray for, who are a bit stupid in their behavior. Or worse than that, I think of people who do some of the hideous things in this psalm, who abuse power, who press down the poor. But I think before we even go there is a need to reflect upon ourselves in this psalm and to ask the question, what does God see when he looks at me or you? I think the first place this psalm takes us to is that prayerful reflection where we dare, and I think it is dare, to invite the Lord to search our hearts, to show us ourselves, to reveal to us those places, whether deliberately or not, we use power to hurt others, where we press down the poor, where we entertain things in our hearts that have nothing to do with Jesus and his kingdom. That's, for me, is the first sort of pull of this psalm to a prayerful reflection to see what would God see if he looked in our hearts. And that maybe leads us to confession or to ask for help to shape and mold us to be more as he would want us to be. But of course, this psalm also does invite us to pray for the powerful, the corrupt, the evildoers, the creators of terror. There's a whole list of hideous activities, and you can see that God is siding with the poor and siding with those who live well. And yet, Jesus taught us, it's Matthew 5, verse 44, Jesus taught us to pray for our enemies. So the psalm invites us to pray for those whose behavior we find abhorrent, and to ask for God's activity in their lives to mold and change them, to pull them back towards his kingdom. And then the last thing is this: we pray for ourselves, we pray for others, but then I think the root of what Psalm 14 lays before us is the fool says in his heart, there is no God. What we desperately need to see, and I think we would all agree with this, is people returning or coming to know Jesus for the first time. It's what we long for, it's what we pray for, it's what we shape church life to be helpful in. So I guess the last place we come into land then in terms of prayer is to pray for those people who do not walk with the Lord. Pray that there would be a real awakening in our country with people returning to the Lord so that hearts would cry out and would seek after him and would come to know our wonderful King. So have a read of Psalm 14 and have a pray. God bless.